Happy New Year, everyone. It's been several weeks since we got around to posting a new video, so we figured it was time to get back to it. And going into 2022, we hope to have a lot more material for everyone, a lot more interesting videos and content. Be sure to follow us on our Facebook page as well at the Howell Report. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like our videos if you do like it. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Russia-Ukraine issue. That's been going back and forth in the news for a while. And, a lot of people are wondering, is Russia really crazy enough to invade Ukraine? Is that part of the legacy that he's wanting to leave? Does he want to try to bring Ukraine back in to what used to be? So, got a few articles we're going to read through. Starting out with a Newsweek article. This is kind of going over some warnings from Russia to the U.S. I know there's been several talks between diplomats and politicians, including Joe Biden, between the United States and with Russia. So, an article just came out today from Newsweek. It says that Russia warns the U.S. it will eliminate unacceptable threats. That's the Putin and Biden talks. That's where that quote came from. So reading through that article, Moscow has issued a warning to the U.S. and NATO not to threaten its security following talks between Presidents Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, aimed at diffusing tensions over Russia's military buildup by its border with Ukraine. I know I just saw a few days ago, there was a few different media outlets that ran a story stating that Russia was pulling back troops that had been, quote unquote, training near the Ukrainian border and that they were going back to their respective bases. So those headlines kind of sounded like that the tension was kind of dialing down, that we were kind of seeing a decrease in the buildup. So I decided to start looking a little bit more into this. If you go and like I've said before in previous videos, a lot of the times when I'm trying to research stuff, if you only use Google, you may not get the best answers to the questions that you're looking for. So one of my favorite search engines to use is DuckDuckGo, simply because they don't have the same algorithms that Google has. So when you search for something, most likely you're going to get a little bit different, result of what you're looking for. So I went to DuckDuckGo and searched for Ukrainian news. I went to one of the main news websites in Ukraine, like their local news. And what I found posted today was an article stating, and this is the headline from the article, states Russia continues to move troops to Ukraine border. And reading from that article, it says Russia continues to send its troops to the border with Ukraine as the earlier discovered camps are growing. New camps are set up while tanks and artillery are joined by sophisticated air defense. So we're seeing that if you look at people that are there, right there in the region, like in the actual area that all this is going on, what they're reporting is most likely going to be a lot more accurate. So if you read through this article, and I'm going to try not to murder some of these names, definitely not fluent in Russian at all. So we're going to attempt to pronounce some of these Russian words. So according to CIT, during the past month, troops and/or vehicles were being transferred more actively into regions to the northeast of Ukraine. The regions do not border the rebel territories in eastern Ukraine outside government control. The Russian forces are being concentrated in various areas, including Klintsy and Klimovo in the Bryansk region, less than 50 kilometers and 10 kilometers, respectively, from the Ukrainian border. Apart from the staging areas that were discovered earlier, at least one new area has been pointed out in the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one, but basically some type of training ground in the Kursk region. So if you're looking at the video right now that I'm playing through, I went to Google Earth and put some pin drops down on some of these different towns so you can kind of see where the Russian troops are respective to the location of Ukraine. And what you will see, just by some of the towns named in this article, and then some other areas that I'm going to get to that I found in some other articles, what it's starting to look like is that basically from the north side of Ukraine all the way down the east side and all the way down across the southern border, there are Russian troops positioned all the way around. So the only side of Ukraine that doesn't have any Russian troops on it is your western side towards the rest of Europe. So it definitely looks like, when you look at this map where all these towns are, it would appear that it's a very strategic buildup of troops, putting all your troops into the right areas in preparation for an invasion. So kind of moving on to another article that I was reading through, and this article is from the Army Times, and it mentions, I saw it in another article earlier, but I wanted to see if I could find some more information, a little more detailed, and this is what I found. So and there's a photo, if you can kind of make out anything in it, a photo that's in the article on the Army Times. It says the photo taken in December shows the movement of infantry fighting vehicles, tanks, self-propelled artillery, and air defense equipment in Crimea. It says Ukraine's Ministry of Defense previously told the Military Times there are about 120,000 Russian troops deployed near Ukraine's borders. Of course, Moscow denies that, and it says that it has no plans to attack Ukraine. So the big question is, what exactly is going on? Is Putin simply positioning his troops to scare Ukraine and the Western world into believing that an attack is coming so that he can put forth his request into whatever he wants, and perhaps he can scare the world into giving it to him? Or is there an actual invasion of Ukraine right around the corner? There's been a lot of strategists that have suggested that we could have seen an invasion of Ukraine as early as Christmas Eve, which Christmas Eve has come and gone. Nothing happened, but we're still seeing a buildup. According to the article from the Ukrainian news site, as of today, they are finding more locations than before. There are new locations that Russian troops are popping up in. So if they're positioning, like at first, a couple of months ago, or about a month ago, when this story first started getting big, the number was there's 90,000 troops on the Ukrainian border. Now, this being reported, there's around 120,000, and that number seems to be going up. Plus, we're seeing lots of equipment, artillery. So, that is where I'm at so far. This is the information that I've looked into, and I plan on looking into it a lot deeper. But take that for what it is. Take that information, do your own research, look into it more. And the reason I look at things like this as being important is that we've all learned since the beginning of 2020 how important world events are, how something that happens in one country can affect the rest of the world. Our economies are so intertwined. Different countries rely on other countries for certain products. Certain countries rely on neighboring countries for energy. So if a war does pop off in Ukraine, there could be some major implications in just the overall world economy. So it's really important to stay up to date on current events, world events, and to prepare yourself as much as you possibly can for things that could happen. So until next time, hope everyone has a wonderful new year, and hopefully we will not see any new wars spring up in 2022.